Namaskar. Hello and welcome to 𝗣𝗲𝗄𝘁 channel. I'm your host Sree Iyer. Joining me, as you can see, is Elmer Yuen, and we're going to be talking about all the events happening around the world. Starting with one statement by the president of Taiwan, and China claims that it has Taiwan encircled. What that means, only Elmer can explain. Elmer, over to you. We have a couple of other topics. Please first like this video, and also if you have not subscribed, do subscribe to our channel. Over to you, Elmer.
Sree, thank you for inviting me. It's been some time since we talk. Anyway, of course, we know right now, China, of course, is the troublemaker, global troublemaker. So everything centered around China. They cause so many trouble in Europe, Middle East, and then the Pacific. So right now, of course, we can see the crisis is in Taiwan. They are surrounding or blockading. Is that the right word?
Blockaded.
Taiwan.
Blockaded, yeah.
With about 8 ships around, and pretty close to the coast. Very tight. Of course, well beyond the normal. There's supposed to be limits, and they're going very close, putting pressure on Taiwan. But I think everybody understands they're not going to invade. What they're really concentrating is to disrupt the legislative arm, legislative council of the system. Taiwan has 5 branch of government, all right, below, and legislative has been taken over by the nationalists, and the other one, I don't know the name, but by the young people. It's called the white and the blue, and they've been taken over, and these two parties are controlled by the communists. And they've taken instruction from Beijing, and the person in charge for all the strategy is 𝗒𝗂𝘁𝗄𝘅. And what they're going to do is they are going to grab power, meaning that they are going beyond the constitution and grab power from the other 4 branch of the government, judiciary, and then the executive, and then there's exam, and then there is it's really it's like supervising, make sure there's no corruption. So altogether 5, including the legislative branch. So what they're trying to do is to amend the start a new bill with 5 parts, and the 5 parts will allow them really to control the entire country. Grabbing power is typically communist, right? Grabbing power, ruining, exceeding their limit in the constitution, and since they're majority, and then the process of going through this legislation, they ignore the reading, debating, and then even kept it confidential. They should be pushed the button to vote. Instead, they don't want to be recognized as a traitor, so they use show of hands. And some people raise both hands. So it's a huge confusion. But eventually, they're going to pass, all right, by Tuesday. And what it's like Hong Kong, making the entire system like Hong Kong. It's all planned by communists. And then Hong Kong, of course, came by the same person, 𝗒𝗂𝘁𝗄𝘁, who is a Politburo member, standing Politburo member. And he has been, for 3 generations of Chinese president, he's been the brain. He is the one who does whatever the president tells him to. And he is causing the problem. But Xi Jinping is in a hurry because they will have their normal economic meeting sometime in June or July. And he needs to show something. And he was hoping that he can confuse enough confusion in Taiwan with this blockading and also this legislative power grabbing to make a difference. Taiwan is infiltrated. Half of Taiwanese people believe it's okay if their relationship, if China takes over, they feel comfortable. Half of Taiwan's population is very bad. Hong Kong, I would say 1/3 of Hong Kong people has no problem under the communists. But Taiwan, they really believe it's okay. And also mainland Chinese have brainwashed them believing that, oh yeah, it's the US trying not to give China the chance of growing up, becoming a world power. So it's a problem internally. We believe that more than the legislative, they're going to cause problem. They're the media. Mainland China control more than half of Taiwan's media, traditional media, TV, television channels, and newspaper, etc., etc. So very powerful. The Chinese are there, are very powerful, and out of the three parties, they control two parties, right? And only the Progressive Party still now, of course, only have the presidency. But on the other hand, there are still hope. The people first last Friday 300,000, and yesterday 100,000. No, 30,000 people actually came to the Legislative Council to demonstrate, and then now 100,000. And this is only in Taipei, but in back in their own counties, they basically decided they have the power. The people have the power to impeach those legislators who are siding with this amendment, or not amendment, the new bills. All right, so they are, of course, it's a little bit borderline. Then supposed to be at least can be a member of the parliament for 1 year. But if really people insist on impeaching those about, I would say about 20 those councillors, they can, and they are trying to use the show of hand to hide their own identity, because otherwise they'd be accused as a traitor if they push the voting machine. The voting machine. The voting machine will identify who they are. So anyway, and now there's a list already came out that and the people back in those in the councillors' home turf are really trying to impeach those councilmen with enough votes they can. So also the president of Taiwan, if they pass the legislature, he has the right to veto or not to sign. And he also have the right to dissolve, under emergency, to dissolve the entire legislative branch. So this is what's happening. It's not hopeless. It's bad, but it's not hopeless. So huge crash. And of course, US have decided to do a military drill with 29 countries in this Taiwan channel business to show of force to China. So that's telling them the US is serious. 29 countries, a drill, they call it drill, but actually it's a show of force to China that if you touch Taiwan, we have 29 countries ready to fight. And India is probably one of them, one of the forces. And of course, Japan, Korea,
sure.
you name it.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's a very tense situation, but I believe that luckily the world is ready to help Taiwan, and Taiwan internally very weak. I've been to Taiwan 10 times last year to make the software for voting for our Hong Kong voting system. And I talked to many taxi drivers and so on. Lots of them are they've been brainwashed by the mainland Chinese, and they have never suffered like Hong Kong people. They've never suffered under the communism. They thought, oh, communism is just another party, another form of ideology. That's the problem. Hopefully, I mean, luckily you guys had war with them, and you know how dirty these guys are.
Oh, India is very noisy. It's very noisy.
So anyway, luckily, these wars teach people lessons. You know how bad your enemy is, whether they are really they play fair or not. They never do. These are really liars. On the other hand, the Chinese economy is in deep trouble, heavily in debt. Debt is their problem. You know, about in the 60s, they had poverty. In the last century, poverty is not so bad. But when you're in debt, China is trying to print this, they're trying to issue this print money and issue this very long-term loan, 50 years maturity. They just printed 1 trillion RMB, not enough to pay the interest. So their total debt, government debt, local government debt, something in the order of 200 trillion RMB. So even if there's only 2-3% interest, you know that it would cost them easily, right, 5 or 6 trillion RMB a year. So 1 trillion means nothing, just enough to pay the interest, and meaning the money will never filter down to the company or to personally to generate consumption. Right now, the whole bit, all the factories are closing down. I believe there is no official statistic for the employable, which we believe is about 800 million people. Half of them is unemployed. So that's how serious it is. Under the definition of Great Depression, 25% is considered as 15% or 25% is considered as depression. But China right now, 50% is unemployed and are suffering huge amount of people committing suicide. When you are unemployed and then you have mortgage to pay, family to support, children to educate, you basically, people have nowhere else to turn for help. And communists don't believe in welfare. They believe they are running the country okay. They would treat their party member well, but not the people. That's what happened to the COVID. After the COVID, people have used up their working capital. Everybody has some saving, right? They used it up. So that's why the economy collapsed. There is no working capital, company and also personal. That's what's happening to China. It's disaster. We all know. But then under communism, they allow the people to starve to death. And without telling, without publishing. So this is why they can last for quite a while. And as they get short of money, as it's difficult, people are more obedient, compared to when they have more money. So right now, situation is very, very serious. In fact, this is the year, if US have a strong leadership, this is really the best time to get rid of communism once and for all. But unfortunately, in US, they are talking about deterrence, this and that. It's not decisive enough. When you know your enemy is evil, you have to destroy it, right, before it comes back to bite you. Under communism, they want to replace our system. They want communism to replace our freedom system. So what you have to do is you have to replace their system. It's a matter of life and death. So whoever survives, the politician in the West, including Europe and US, right now they understand communism is evil, but they don't understand if you don't destroy them, they will destroy you.
Very true. It's not a live and let live kind of a situation.
Exactly.
Elmer, so Raisi got assassinated last week. It's not a crash. We know that. It was not like a helicopter failure. At least 99% of the people are saying it's not a failure because there were 3 helicopters flying. Bad weather should have impacted all 3. It didn't. So the middle one is the one that got caught. Many things that are interesting about this, like for example, so many high net worth individuals all in the same helicopter. Why do you think they did that?
Helicopter doesn't need a runway, so they can always they can go up from anywhere. But Sree, we've been talking about helicopter accidents too many times.
Too many times.
There's never been. There's no conclusion, right? Taiwan, the defense minister or the chief of staff or something, and then of course your India, you have your guy went down in helicopter. Now this time, the helicopter is very easy. All you need is one luggage. There is a little. It's like the tag, right? The Apple tag. All you have to do is have a tag inside any of the luggage or any part of the helicopter. Then they can track you and shoot you down. That's all you need. And that's very, very difficult to detect a tag. You don't even need satellite or anything, right? Because the helicopter is very slow. And then with the tag, beaming the location, it's like tracking. It's like an iPhone. We can find the tag easily. Then it's the same system, except with the longer distance. All right. And then the signal they send, you can easily send a missile to shoot it down. So I believe that's most probably what happened. or you can put explosive inside the helicopter. And Mossad is the best. I mean, they are so good in this thing. They can do it without tracing back to them. So I don't believe in coincidence. So I think this is another one of these so-called helicopter murders, which we, in our short broadcast in the last 2-3 years, it happened 3 times already. And
Very true. Very true.
I absolutely, I don't believe it's an accident. How come, this out of the 3 helicopter, only the most important person in the helicopter got into accident? And there's so many queries, but both sides, it's convenient for them diplomatically to say it's an accident. It's the weather, to blame it on the weather. It's like Taiwan, and it's like in your country, same thing. And then deal with that later. So there's no question. But that's not the end of it. Knowing Netanyahu, I believe Netanyahu, before he retires, he will destroy all the Iranian nuclear producing facilities. And because you have no choice. Israel is too small, and under any nuclear threat, I mean, the whole Jewish state would disappear. So he will have to no choice, like what he did to Saddam Hussein, destroy all the Iraqi nuclear producers.
1970s, I think 1980s, early 80s.
Well, he has to do it. As we all know, his brother was the Uganda thing, did the Uganda rescue. So it's a very patriotic family. And then I think this is what any Jewish president would do the same.
Thank you. And last question. Now talks that there might be a ceasefire between Ukraine and Russia are gaining ground. And why do you think people are coming to this conclusion? Biden has an election to fight. Putin has already won his. He's not bothered. But then somehow they seem to be wanting to do a ceasefire. Where do you think things are headed? Is something like 2 weeks' time, tomorrow? What do you think?
I believe a negotiation takes months to negotiate. So hopefully, before the election in November. And just not doing well. I would say in US, they pocketed so much money. The corruption, I would say half of it goes to somebody's pocket. And then by the time it arrives in Ukraine, another half gone to somebody's pocket. So the real money in buying weapons is very limited. That's why the war drags on. And Russia, of course, China gave them all the machinery to rebuild their all weaponry factories in Russia. Right? I was in Mongolia last month, and Mongolia has a lot of Russians. They tell me all the factories, all the ammunition factories, completely rebuilt with Chinese equipment. And let me tell you, the Chinese equipment are not bad. They're very cheap. They have this machine, and very all digitized, very advanced. In fact, the Western world have not improved that much in their machine, but China has been coming up, and because using chips and then using good ITs, their machines been improving a lot, really up to the level very close to Japan and Germany. So right now, they can fight, but still, China has limited money. Russia has limited money. I would say overall, all 3 countries are out of money, including a European Union.
Yes, indeed. And thank you so much, Elmer. And you have a great day. And viewers, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Namaskar.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you. Bye-bye.